has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Oh, I like you.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, guess who's back? And I just want to remind you why you subscribed to me in the first place, because of silly intros like this.
Oh, my perfect cousin.
Fergal Sharkey, when he used to be such a punk rocker.
What I like to do, he doesn't.
And then he became a shocker when he recorded songs like this.
And a good heart these days, it's hard to find.
Grant you, A Good Heart is a pretty good song anyway, but when I think of heart, I don't think of the Christian pop duo who sung this. But I think of heart rhyming with fart. And who is today's fart? Ladies and gentlemen, it is Boyega, John Boyega, from Nigeria. And the reason why I bring this fool up, this absolute buffoon and moron, oh, I know YouTube is gonna suddenly do a check on this video because I said the word moron. Oh, come on YouTube, take it easy, calm down, because your boy's back today and he's full of vigor, full of energy, like the French. And I've got to say, when I saw this floating around, this story, in fact, it actually happened on the 31st of March. So again, it didn't really do anything for me. I was kind of doing other things at the point. I thought this has to be a joke, right? This is like a pre-April Fool's joke. And before I do get into the article, if you like today's video, make sure you give it a like, smash that subscribe button, and remember folks, I don't hate every single thing and platform on YouTube, whatever I talk about. There are things I like and there are things that you don't like that I like, and the other way around. But without further ado folks, let's get into today's video because we've got a bit to unpack and I probably might get a bit angry during the course of this video, so bear with me. And speaking of bearing folks,
Yes, hallelujah, it's the video show. And now, the man the BBC calls
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
now courtesy of Variety magazine, I still think of it as that rather than a website, which is peculiar, I know, but John Boyega stated, Star Wars is so white that a black person existing in it is a big deal. Okay, toxic fans are okay with us playing the friend, but we can't touch their heroes. Now Boyega, just like Phyllis Nelson in the 1980s, move closer but not that closer because you stink of BO, mate. Tell me, when was Finn portrayed by a white actor in the Star Wars universe? Yes? Yeah, never? Oh, right, so you're full of crap. And listen, I don't blame John Boyega for Finn. I blame Jar Jar Abrams. He's the man who cast him for 2015's Star Wars The Force Awakens. I blame that buffoon because he obviously wanted to put somebody of a diverse nature to go right in our faces and say, this is your new Star Wars going forward. And obviously I would say that Kathleen Kennedy had something to do with that casting as well. And again, I'm just absolutely livid when I see stuff like this. Now you're thinking, right, Kung Fu, you've just read out this excerpt from Variety, which always corroborates its sources before publishing because they don't want to get sued, right? Well, I've got more for you than just meets the eye like Optimus Prime in the Transformers. Have a look at this sorry ass clip right here. So this is from an Apple TV documentary, and I'm sure that Apple obviously can't wait to get this. All eyes on the prize because it's going to raise their profile even more. More people might subscribe, but hey, Apple, you're shit out of luck because I don't care. Let's take this back.
They're pandering. Let me tell you this, Star Wars always had the vibe of being in the most whitest elite space. Like, this franchise is so white that it's like a black person existing in that was something. And you can always tell it's something when some Star Wars fans try to say, well, we had Lando Calrissian and had Samuel L. Jackson. It's like telling me how many cookie chips are on the cookie dough. I'm like, bro, they just scattered that in there, bro. They're okay with us playing the best friend. But once we touch their heroes, once we lead, once we trailblaze, it's like, oh my God, it's just a bit.
Yeah, except Boyega, you didn't do any trailblazing of any kind. He sits there like a big pansy-ass girl. The only thing that's missing is a short skirt and a crop top, and he'll feel right at home. And by the way, I'll get back to that point as well in a minute too, because it's quite hilarious. I've never liked John Boyega. I remember he blocked me on Instagram quite a few years ago because I dared to call out his bullshit when he said the same thing about Game of Thrones being too white. Why? Because nobody was going to cast your ugly Nigerian ass in the actual series. And yes, you did have diversity in GOT. That's because certain characters traveled to various regions in that George R.R. Martin world and met diverse people. That only seems natural. That's why I can't watch House of the Dragon, because you've now got Stephen Toussaint as I would imagine that character was white in the books, but now they've actually race swapped them. Now, I might be wrong. You can tell me off in the comments below. I don't have time to read these days. I'm always watching and playing stuff. But that's as far as my font of knowledge goes. But honestly, just unpacking what Mrs. Boyega has said here is an absolute buffoon, because it's all right for him. Now, he is lucky that as a black person, because we've got to bring color into it every single time, he's in a unique privilege that you or I will never experience in our lifetime, right? He's on his director's chair telling everybody, hey, I'm this successful black dude, but I'm gonna push you all down now because a lot of you in that community are very toxic towards me because I'm a black guy in a white franchise. Listen, Boyega, I grew up with Star Wars in the 70s, dude. Something that you can't ever imagine, okay? That was my first experience as a kid going to the cinema in 1977. I tell you what, it was like hitting the jackpot. I saw those TV commercials as a kid and I thought, oh my God. Then I learned I'm gonna go watch it with my mates and a school teacher at our local Granada cinema. It was awesome. It was the most magical experience I've ever had. And the fact that he pulls out Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian and Samuel L. Jackson like they were throw-ins. George Lucas has even said himself that the whole point of Star Wars is that while you've got the humans, they're Han Solo, for crying out loud, walks around with a 7-foot ape, a carpet called Chewbacca. That's diversity. I think where he gets his wires and knickers crossed, because we know Boyega likes to wear women's clothing in his spare time, maybe even during this interview as well, that again, if you're talking that way, then surely Mrs. Boyega, that you harp on like a woman. This is what you sound insufferable. I can't imagine anybody being with this guy. It's just utterly ridiculous, the diarrhea that comes out of this man's mouth. And honestly, Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, the absolute childhood crush of mine growing up. Obviously, she was smoking hot. We loved her number 3 in the gold bikini, but honestly, just seeing her in a purest form, that's fantastic, which is why I said Disney should sell the rights to the Arab Emirates and get them to make their version of Star Wars. I bet you any money they won't cast any black people in that either, because again, that country is kind of centric in the way that it wants certain representation. I am all for, by the way, a very hot Arabic version of Princess Leia. I've said it before on this channel and I'll say it again. I would absolutely love that. I think everybody would. But this fool here, oh yeah, it's so elite, it's so white that if somebody black comes in, they blacken it up. Give me a break, dude. And by the way, Mrs. Boyega, the irony obviously escapes you because you're too ignorant to recognize the fact, but Darth Vader was voiced by the late great James Earl Jones. Jim to me and him. And of course, since the great man has passed away, he's even allowed AI to reuse his voice for future Star Wars movies and projects. But of course you won't know that. All you're focusing on is the elite white actors like Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Peter Cushing, and Dave Prowse as Darth Vader in the costume. He is getting roasted on X. It's absolutely hilarious, and it's actually, it's very, it's good. I'm glad he's getting it. I think the point I wanted to say before, boys and girls, is that in his unique position, he shouldn't be putting people down. He should just be there as someone who might inspire people. But if you look at him, why the F would you be inspired by him? You don't see Idris Elba saying these sort of things, do you? And I certainly haven't seen Samuel L. Jackson or Billy D. Williams, probably the basest of the lot actually, because he knows what it's like to be an actor of his diversity within an industry that is predominantly white. But he doesn't harp on about it because he's been afforded privileges in his lifetime, which is great. And that's why I like Billy D. He's an awesome dude. But there is a fragrance which I cannot stand called Joe Malone, and Boyega apparently has filmed an advert for them. I won't show the advert because it's absolutely effing cringe, but that's it right there. So again, is that Daniel Kaluuya? Because that's another guy I can't stand either. But then again, when you think of Joe Malone, folks, you think of DEI and ESG, all that shit. And that's the Joe Malone office, and I don't know if John Boyega is an advocate for LGBT, but look at the flag outside their offices. I mean, if that were me, I'd be like, you know what? Just give me a perfume firm or a cologne firm like Creed that's about the essence of man, not the essence of whatever this is meant to be. So, yeah, John Boyega, I mean, my God, he makes Johnny Somali almost, and I say almost, look like a saint, which he is not either. So, oh boy, folks, had to give you my Alfred Pennyworth's opinion about this. I swore I would not make this video. I did not want to make it, but I got so angry at the coverage that I've seen about it. And just to remind you folks again, why you subscribed to me in the first place. I might have gone off the beaten path for the last few weeks and months, for sure. I've been contemplating that as well. And then I also have to contemplate the fact that this is not a hate speech piece. It's not that at all. It's critical. It's critique. It's about calling somebody out with very moronic opinions. Definitely trying to garner publicity for themselves. I mean, the Pacific Rim movie, right? We all love the first one by Guillermo del Toro. When the sequel came out, which starred Scott Eastwood and John Boyega, why did it flop? Because John Boyega does not have any star power. He knows that, you know that, and I know that. But tell him to his face, what is his instant response? It's going to be verbal aggression and maybe come around the corner, bruv, and we'll duke it out. Of course, that's exactly the kind of mindset that Mrs. Boyega has. And on that one, folks, if you were me and if I were you, and may the force be with you, which it will be next month, I'll catch you catching me for the return of the next video.
Let me tell you, Star Wars always had the vibe of being in the most whitest elite space. Like, this franchise is so white that it's like a black person existing in that. They're okay with us playing the best friend. But once we touch their heroes, once we lead, once we trailblaze, it's like, oh my God, it's just a bit too much.
Because you're black.
Kathleen Kennedy and Disney presents Star Wars: The Foreskin Awakens.
All I got to say, the Jedi have returned.
We're just fanatics out here waiting on Return of the Jedi. 3 years in the making. We're waiting for this.
Some people don't idolize Darth Vader like I do. See, I want him to get Luke. And I think that that Luke will destroy Darth Vader.
I guess Darth Vader will die. I'm not sure. I hope he doesn't. I love his black.